Oh.
Hi there.
My apologies, I'm not trying to intrude.
I'm sitting here editing my Moon Knight episode 3 review with 2 other movie reviews on lock that I gotta edit later for this week. And
just thinking about the one that I'm actually editing right now.
You know what I'm saying?
How's it going, everybody? It's Ben from the Ben and Bev channel, and today we're going to be talking about the movie I've been most excited for this year. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Everything Everywhere All at Once stars Michelle Yeoh as the lead character Evelyn, a Chinese-American immigrant who owns a laundromat who's really struggling to make ends meet, especially as she's getting audited now by the IRS. The film really focuses on the family strife between her and her husband as their marriage has been getting rocky with the tensions of everyday life, and she appears to be very overly critical of him. He appears to be the most gentle and kind and caring man. Her daughter, meanwhile, is going through a lot of changes as she's entering her adult life and has dropped out of college, and upon breaking some news to her family, really introduces some tension as the film sets up the audit sequence with Jamie Lee Curtis's Deidre. And right as they're about to go in, Gong Gong, played by James Hong, Evelyn's father, shows up from China for the first time since she left when he originally disapproved of her and her husband's marriage. Upon first arrival with all these horrible things, she's trying to hide everything from him, and it adds a really high sense of tension for the film before we even get set into the movie's main plot points that we see in the trailer. Upon arriving at the auditor's office, though, is when everything begins to go to hell. You're introduced to Jamie Lee Curtis's Deidre, who acts as the main antagonist in the first part of this movie before you really know what's going on. I'm not going to go too far into who the actual antagonists are of the film. All you really know is they're from another dimension.
more on that now.
Earlier in this IRS sequence, there's a really weird scene. Evelyn's husband, Waymond, played by Huy Quan, becomes possessed by another version of him from across the many-verse, which, as he explains, is the connected multiverse and different versions of you across all these different dimensions. And apparently somewhere in one of these universes, a very advanced version of Evelyn created a way to hop between these different versions of yourself in different universes and find very specific ways upon doing very specific things to branch your timeline to enact their powers. It's a really heady concept that the film dives into with extreme detail and doesn't stray away from it. The family dynamic remains intact, but sci-fi adventure aspects are interspersed with this really stylistic Daniels combination of absurdity and crude comedy tied in with extreme action sequences. It's a really satisfying set of kung fu attacks and some absolutely ludicrous situations with alternate dimensions that you would never think of. Some spoilers without context for you: hot dog, bagel, raccoon, pinkies, and a really hilarious scene that, despite there only being 2 other people in the theater with me when I saw this movie, got a laugh out loud reaction from all 3 of us, involving the intrusion of a trophy while in a fight scene. Just,
I don't even want to talk about it. It's like a main plot point for the movie when it's happening.
I don't even know if I could talk about it on camera if I wanted to. It's that hilarious and crude. It's just so unexpected, and despite it being a really big tonal jump, it's handled very effectively. I mean, this is seriously top-tier stuff with writing, cinematography, and the first time, and I think in all of my movie reviews I've done on YouTube, the costume and makeup design really stood out in this movie. I mean, it probably has in other movies I've seen, I've just never said anything about it, but in this movie, it's like a Bjork music video on steroids at points, and just all these different realities, the lighting, and just the attention to detail on everybody. Soundtrack by Sun Lux too is really 3-dimensional, and there's a couple times in this movie where when I was hearing voices all across the cinema, I thought there was actually someone outside walking by talking to us, making creepy whispers. It's an extremely engaging film, and as you're pulled into this story of family comedy, sci-fi, tragedy, mind-blowing, the high attention to detail is just palpable. You're so immersed. This world is so real. Not since Dune have I been in a movie where I'm just like, holy cow, man. I was transported that entire time. The movie fooled me so many times, and I didn't even expect it to do that. I mean, small example, but a very big subplot of the movie is this intense set of friction between mother and daughter. Joy, played by Stephanie Hsu, is phenomenal. The different versions of her in this movie that you meet, as well as the different versions of the husband, are so incredibly different. It's basically a movie where you had to play 6 different characters, and all of them really stood out to me. There's not a single moment where it lets up, even when you get into that ending crawl. In fact, I think it's probably the most cohesive ending crawl to any movie I've seen, specifically any time hopping or universe hopping or reality hopping sci-fi movie. I mean, it's insane. They introduce you to all these different levels of the multiverse, and you end up revisiting all of them at one point or another throughout the movie. There's some major psych outs that completely trick you as the audience, and there's some absolutely thrilling laughs, and nothing ever gets to the point of absurdity despite the moments in it being so absurd. Absolutely love this film. I have already bought tickets to see it later tonight with Beverly because she wasn't able to go with me that first first time. I'm tempted to go see it even another time because I really think it's probably going to be the best movie in cinemas for quite a while. I cannot suggest this movie enough. Go see this movie in theaters as much as you can. It's really a treat to be getting any type of movie like this right now. I know movies like Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent and The Northman are coming up in just a couple weeks here, but this has just been such a delight. I'm so excited that the hype and the delayed gratification actually paid off. Despite an empty theater, it was great, and I can't wait to do it again. Can't believe I'm doing this already. This early in the year, and I'm handing out a 10. My rating for this movie is a 10. It's seriously a perfect movie. First 10 of the year, and probably the only 10 of the year. I don't know what can top this. I'm just amazed.
I thought perhaps my rating was a little too hasty. I gave it a perfect score and I'd only seen the movie one time. I mean, initial wow factor is definitely something I'm trying to consider when reviewing a movie, but this movie's bar was already set so high in my mind, and the amount of frustration and the epic journey to get there added to this expectation, and it exceeded them by miles. My favorite movie of the year. I think it's the best movie of the year. I'm going to say that right now. I don't even know what half of the movies of the year are yet that I'm going to love. Topping this will be truly difficult.
Northman looks so good. I am a sucker for Roger Eggers. Lighthouse was one of my top movies the year it came out, and I love Vikings. This film probably will take the cake at the end of the year. The film functions at 100% on visual and audio levels, whether it's the CGI or visual palette, costume, makeup, and Michelle Yeoh is the lead actress here. I mean,
Oh my gosh, the entire cast of actors here.
everything about it. I couldn't even imagine reading this script and trying to do this movie. I don't know how many takes it would have taken to complete some of these scenes, but just the way the lighting is flashing and vibrating off of everything, and the way everything changes so rapidly from scene to scene, so seamlessly and so perfectly. That lead performance Michelle Yeoh has really ties this whole story together as you learn more about self and what it means to be human, despite it being sci-fi, comedy, action, adventure, and all these things. It's really just a movie about being human at the end of the day.
I could talk about this movie forever.
Were you as enthralled with everything everywhere all at once as I was? Let us know in the comments below. If you haven't had a chance to go see it yet, I would definitely do it, because getting to see a movie like this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. See you guys next time. Ben and Bev, out.